Monday, August 11th, and we call the meeting of the Central Vermont Career Center School Board to order. Do we have any guests online? Mr. Delcor, welcome. Comments for items not on the agenda? Anyone have any comments? Any agenda revisions or board comments? Jody.
So I think we're going to need an executive session and around personnel. And there is a staffing update that I sent to you earlier today. Hopefully you saw it, but it is in your packet that you have in hand for a nomination to fill one of our open positions. So staffing and personnel was on our agenda. It just didn't say action at the time. So we just want to make sure that you're aware of that. And then a recommendation that we schedule August 25th board meeting for the purposes of really going deeply into the facilities project and talking about that budget for the bond. So,
What day is that? Is that Monday?
It's a Monday, 2 weeks from today.
So I think what we can do is we'll make number 7, instead of future agenda items, we'll make that executive session.
And move 6.2 down there?
Well, a portion of that will be in the executive session. So with that, and then number 7 will become number 8, which will be future agenda items. And number 8 would become number 9. And number 9 will become number 10. All right. So we've added number 7 executive session for a discussion of 6.2. Okay. All right. So we may have to, after our executive session, we may have to go back to 6.2, but that's easily done. All righty. Public comments and correspondence. Anybody get any information from the outside world? Anyone from the outside world have any comments for us? No. All right, so we'll move along to number 4, which is the consent agenda, which are the minutes from June 16th, 2025 and June 26th, 2025. Anyone have any additions or corrections to those minutes?
I move that we approve the minutes for both.
Second.
Patrick? Any discussion on those minutes? Either set of those? All those wishing to approve, vote in the approval for the minutes of 6/16/25 and 6/26/25, please say aye.
Aye.
Any objections? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Number 5, board reports, committee reports. Facilities, do we have a report?
We have a meeting. We talked about the results from a wetlands assessment, and that there were changes that needed to happen to the design. Minor changes like tweaking where the parking lot was, and that there was an effort underway to get that new arrangement approved by the state and by the Army Corps of Engineers.
And the traffic study is complete, and we need to update, thank you Dave for noting, we need to update our FAQs around the facilities project with the information that we got out of that traffic study. And we had a very quick presentation from Place Creative, kind of gathering more information from that committee to put into what they talked to you today about in our retreat.
Anything else from facilities? Just moving ahead, alrighty. Program quality,
So we met on July 21st, and we met with representatives from Transcend, Momentum, and Spark. And we had a presentation similar to the work that we did tonight. And we unanimously agreed on going forward with Spark.
any questions? I mean, we've now met the consultant, any questions, any concerns? Very good. So, we'll move forward from there to the superintendent's report.
So I shared basically that we're working with two different consultants, Place Creative for marketing, Spark for our comprehensive local needs assessment. And that I also applied to be in Transcend's first Career Connected Collaborative cohort, which would be free if we get into it, and it starts in January. And we made it through the first two phases of that, which for the Program Quality Committee, that's why they said we understand you might not select us for this work, but we have a feeling we'll be working with you again in the future. Career academies are a focus of that work, and a lot of the research that I've been doing shows that that is really the best way to move CTE forward. And so it's students that have access to pieces of a different career path potential, and then can select from there, so they're introduced and then move forward. It's sort of what we already do with our exploratory students, in that they get to sample everything and then kind of self-select into that area that they're most interested in. Also, I gave you a little heads up that there is a committee, a CTE work group that met in July, and I was lucky to be invited to as a part of that. And so that will happen again on September 30th. That group has a bunch of legislators. It had 2 other CTE directors. It had some industrial arts teachers from some of our schools across the state. Had some people from the Department of Education, the Department of Labor, from the Vermont Business Bureau. I think it's a different name than that. And from BYCC, and I think there was VSAC there. Their intent is to invite some of the higher ed folks to get involved as well, and maybe some industry partners. But really their intent is to get some legislative language around what is CTE gonna do in this transformation. Also, we had a career technical ed directors meeting in July. Some of that was facilitated by myself as the last one that I would facilitate as president. And some of it was facilitated by Chelsea Myers, who's the Vermont Superintendents Association director, around what do we see as opportunities and barriers in the 2 potential options in front of us of one CTE district versus becoming part of regional districts. And so we went through that work, and this week we're actually hosting VACTED here on Thursday to kind of continue forward with that and really make a step in which one do the directors support the most, so that we can advocate for that.
Chelsea would be back with that?
No, and with the understanding that if there is no change, we do not want to be the only change state. So that is some of what's happening there. I shared a photo from a team building activity that our office staff did. We escaped an escape room with a little over 2 minutes left, but we got there. So it was a really fun team building activity, and we stopped at a couple of waterfalls along our road trip, and then we had lunch at A&W in Middlebury. And then they came back, and I went to that CTE work group meeting. I also survived my first doctoral residency at SNHU. It was a learning experience and a lot, and so I'm still recovering from that. But excited that I've been doing semesters of 7 credits a semester, and I've got 2 more of those before it drops down to 4 credits a semester. So it feels like the light is the tunnel light is coming up. I already talked to you about the Perkins revisions, namely around strategic planning versus CLNA consulting. And there's 2 people left to approve it, so let's hope that comes through soon. There has been an increase in outreach from some different folks around our facilities. Like, it's starting to tick up even before Dave's article this weekend. And so I heard from Snap-on, they actually designed for free new career centers and classroom spaces. And of course, the design is built with their toolboxes and their cabinets and that sort of stuff. But they're interested in partnering with us in any way that makes sense, and they already do supply our automotive program. So there may be a place where that makes sense after the bond vote if it's approved. We also heard from Radio Vermont about polling, which I mentioned to you earlier today, and some other folks that are just really excited about the potential for a new center and the opportunities that that might provide. And so far, this week has been great already. Today, we had lots of our staff in to do their flex day, and I anticipate seeing the majority of our staff coming through this week. So it's been great to see teachers coming back into the building.
I have a question.
Yeah.
In the news recently, there's been reports, particularly in Chittenden County, of something called a career academy. And I think this is for the construction trade. Is that something that we might be interested in partnering with, or at least if it's Mr. Wabi who's doing that?
Yeah, most of that is for graduates. So they're adults who are looking to build some skills and get some credentials to get into careers that maybe haven't yet, or maybe they started and they're doing some laboring but want some more skills. So it's more of a post-secondary credential opportunity, and there might be some opportunities for us. So we've been given some outreach from them, and may go visit and see how we can partner with them and how some of their staff might come and talk with our students. So there is potential there.
Did anybody ask for Beck to do this kind of working on what your opinion might be for the different roles, or I guess I'm trying to ask like what's your expectation of
Yeah.
this too?
So we've been asked from especially the Commerce Committee to like bring forward our pros and cons, mostly not necessarily what we want, but what are the benefits and what are the barriers to each of those so that they can think it through. But we've also been asked by the BSA, so Superintendent's Association, the Principals Association, and School Boards Association, what our stance is so that they can try to align what they're saying for us too, so that they're supporting not only everybody, but they're not leaving us out. So we've been asked from a few different areas, where do we stand? And as you know, we've been providing white papers and testimony to the legislature for some time now about this. We haven't really wavered in our stance. What's been hard is we've been pretty divided, 50-something to 40-something on which model would be better. And so the attempt is to say we need to pick one, because no one can write legislation or a bill that's somewhere in the middle. It's one or the other. And so if that's the case, then we need to really decide which is the one we support and move that forward and work collaboratively with the folks that are making these decisions.
Thanks.
Is there anything that we could or should be doing to move that process along? Anyone we should be contacting or anything like that?
I'm happy to share with you the folks that are involved in that work group so that you can reach out to them if you have questions, concerns, or ideas. And I'll think about that some more to see if I have a recommendation, but right now I don't.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Any more questions for Jody? Guy, are you percolating a question?
No.
No, okay. All right. So we'll move forward to section 6, which is board discussion and action items. And our first is policy D1, which is the second reading of that policy.
And what had happened after the first reading was that you asked me to reach out to legal counsel and see if there was anything that we should shift. This is a required policy now, and it didn't quite fit us. And so you'll see on the first page that you have, there's some green changes, and it doesn't have all of them here. So there were 2 changes that I made to it. There was an added shift in the language. Now I'm gonna have to go back. And then the second paragraph, the second line, line is a brand new line.
And we won't use credits, that one?
Yeah. No, it says final determination for graduation and any resulting diploma shall come from the individual students and school. Yeah. You're gonna get to it faster. So, there was a line that said a student meets the requirements for graduation when the student demonstrates evidence of proficiency while attending CVCC in these curriculum content areas, and when they meet any additional graduation requirements described by the board. But because we don't have graduation requirements, we're not an LEA. Legal counsel asked us to change it to a student meets the requirements for graduation when the student demonstrates evidence of proficiency while attending CVCC and or their setting school in these curriculum content areas, and when they meet any additional graduation requirements described by this board and their setting school.
Because when I was reading this, I thought, oh, we have a full day program all of a sudden.
No, but this allows.
Yeah.
Yeah, it allows that. Thank you, Michelle.
Will this require any additional work on behalf of the sending schools? Will they have to be sending us anything new or different?
No, it basically aligns with how they make those determinations anyways and what state board rules states.
And it's shorter.
Yeah.
So, can we just move that we accept it?
I got a pedantic question, I'm sorry, but, there's an and or in the beginning of the sentence, and there's an and in the second chunk of the sentence, is that significant? So the and or, so CVCC and or their sending school at the beginning, and then described by this board and their sending school at the end, should that be an and or as well?
It could be. Yeah, that would be fine. We can still add that in and accept it.
I just think for consistency.
That makes sense to me.
I just had a quick clarifying question. Does every student who attends have a personalized learning plan?
That's a trick question.
I don't know.
So technically, in the state of Vermont, all students have a personalized learning
Oh, they
plan.
do, okay.
And what that looks like at each of our setting schools is very different.
Hmm. So in other words, yes?
Sure.
Okay.
But their personalized learning plan includes their attendance at CTE.
Correct. Yes.
Any further questions or discussion? Then what we need to do is just restate, the one edit that we made where the and, let's see, a student meets the requirements for graduation when the student demonstrates evidence of proficiency while attending CVCC and or their sending school in these curriculum content areas and or when they meet any additional graduation requirements described by this board and their sending school. So that's the one edit. I need a motion to approve, D1, proficiency-based graduation requirements as edited.
I also want to know, do you want it for a third reading to approve, or are you approving it with the second reading with that edit?
I don't think we can take it any further.
Okay.
So we'll approve this as edited, for adoption. I need a motion.
So moved.
Patrick,
Second.
second. Jason, thank you. Any further discussion on this?
If you just take out that the that shouldn't be there, that would be fine. Please. And there. Pending school.
I think that's the wrong page. You gotta flip the other one. It's the last one.
Okay, sorry about that. So it is out.
Yeah.
Okay, good, thank you.
Okay. All right, so, all those in favor of approving policy D1 as edited for adoption, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Any abstentions? Hearing none, D1, proficiency-based graduation requirements for the Central Vermont Career Center School District are adopted. Staffing and personnel updates.
So we had opening in cosmetology, and we have an integrated academics, humanities opening, and you will also, if you go on School Spring at all, so see that we have a posting for a long-term sub. We have one instructor who is potentially going out for a surgery that we'll need to take care of. And so we actually posted 2 options because our medical professionals teacher is going to take a leave. Our EMS 1 instructor can cover that role. So we posted both to see which one we can fill for the long-term sub. We did have a candidate for cosmetology that the committee interviewed this morning and was willing to really push forward. And I can say I have full support of that because I did talk to her current principal and superintendent. Both of whom gave her glowing recommendations and said they would absolutely release her from her para contract to come join us as an instructor. Yes.
Excellent, no problem there. So,
Patrick, you're losing a para.
yeah. Any questions or concerns about our candidate for cosmetology? And she can start on the
Yes.
first day of school?
Yep.
All right, very good. I need a motion to approve, and I think you got her name right,
So moved.
Miss Lauren,
Jennifer Finch, I mean, that's
No.
not Jennifer. I'm sorry, that was the
Lauren,
second grade teacher.
Miss Lauren Clark
Right.
as cosmetology instructor for the district. I need a motion to approve that.
I move that we approve the hiring of Lauren Clark for cosmetology instructor.
Thank you. Need a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll go with Guy. All right, Guy second. Janice, move. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries.
She seems really excited.
She is so
She's like,
excited.
in her writing, she's really excited.
All right. Let's, draft program of studies. We'll do that and then we'll go to, executive session.
Yeah, so every year I get to bring you the program of studies just for you to review it, and sometimes you all catch some errors in it that I didn't. And so we wanted to make sure you saw this before it goes to print. We anticipate having it ready for the first week of September for our admissions kickoff in the coming year for students to attend next year. We continue to work with Linda Mirabel. She's been doing most of our outreach stuff, so our annual report, our budget postcard, and this.
Just good job.
You'll notice that something that's added this year is that every program has prerequisites, the required prerequisites.
I don't know, maybe it's my years on this board, but I didn't leave one stone unturned when I was reading it. And I loved the pictures and I was more aware of what the reading levels were. I mean, just the whole thing and who in business we work with. It was just really comprehensive and excellent. But I didn't read the typos.
When do you anticipate this going to press?
Later this week.
So, if anyone hasn't fully read this and needs to take the time, would you please get this, any questions or concerns to Jody by Wednesday?
That'd be great.
Okay, by Wednesday. So
I think when Baking Arts does a presentation with us this year, they should teach us how to fold croissants.
So Baking Arts is our one concern program of, they currently have 3 students and 1 co-op. So that'll be something that we're gonna need to think about as we move forward this year. There are 10 students in culinary, so that does carry them, but just barely, and that will be an area that program quality will have to talk about.
So you merge the numbers together.
We do, they're under the same zip code, yes. It's very similar to the EMS 1-2 situation.
Yes, and I think,
Jody, I just wanted to second your comment in terms of pictures and stuff. I just have a curiosity, are these all current students?
These
they
are
past
all-
students?
This past year,
This past year.
the most recent year. It is because it's cost. There's a potential we could reopen it. But there is also, we are moving forward, and you may have seen the social media posts with the Elizabethtown paramedic opportunity for adult ed. And so that will start in January, and we will be hosting that. And so there is an opportunity for students who wanted to be in EMS 2 this year to take that and work through that program. And then we will see if there's enough interest for us to take it on as a high school student class with advanced EMT in the fall, and then you start your paramedic in the spring semester.
With adults participating.
Correct.
Are we gonna, we'll print this in-house, or does this go,
It goes to Elbron.
all right? Any other additional, Patrick, did you have a question?
No, I didn't.
Any other questions? Then if you have any, if you find anything, if anybody finds anything that other eyes haven't caught, please get them to Jody by Wednesday. What we're gonna do is, move into executive session now, so I need a motion to move into executive session and invite the superintendent to join us in executive session because, let me get this right, so I get the numbers right. This is the cheat sheet. We need to move into executive session under, section 313A3, appointment, employment, or evaluation of a public officer or employee.
Section 313.
313A3.
Okay.
So moved.
Right, moved by Patrick, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, we have a second. All those in favor of moving into executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Any abstentions? Thank you very much. We are now in executive session. Board approved, so we are now back in regular session. Based upon our discussion in executive session, I need a motion from the board to approve the recommendation of our superintendent and legal counsel to accept the options for settlement in a personnel matter.
So moved.
Thank you, Jason. I need a second. Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
So could we have further discussion being out of executive session?
Will it only be on the motion? Yes. Will it only be
I
on
was
the motion?
thinking the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it would only be on the motion, whether the motion is correct
Okay.
or not. All right, so now we move on to future agenda items. Board development and goal setting. We still need to work on that.
Yep, we have our goals that are in the handbook that
Yep.
I mean, they've kind of been ongoing, but I do think it would be great to revisit those.
Okay, so we'll schedule those for an early meeting, early in the year, September, or not September, October, November, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Alrighty. Program presentations will be throughout the year. Is there any one particular program that anyone is dying to hear about? All right, then we'll let the educational community determine who their victims will be.
They're all great.
Yes, they-
They're new programs.
Yes, so we'll do that. The exposure management plan, is that replacement of bloodborne pathogens? Is that a name for
That's
that?
because of our, what we do in medical professions and in EMS to make sure that we are covered if any of our kids get a needle stick.
Okay.
But we review it, and the policy says we review it every year, so we'll bring it back for a review.
Alrighty. And equity team reports are done quarterly, so we'll look forward to those at the quarter line.
Yeah.
Any reflections or next steps that anyone wants to discuss? Again, yes, Jason?
Schedule that next meeting.
August 25th.
I can't do that.
I know.
August 25th, you said? Or?
That's what we're looking for,
August
but
25th?
yep. 2 weeks from today, are we able to do that for the facilities specific?
If I can zoom in, that would,
Yeah.
Okay.
then I can probably make it.
Right. So August 25th to discuss facilities, and the September meeting would be September
8th. So we'll have a special meeting on the 25th for the facilities project, and then we'll have our regular meeting on September 8th, which will allow us to warn for the bond vote.
Yeah, going right up.
Okay. I always wish to just say thank you to everybody, because these meetings do go along so wonderfully, calmly, swimmingly. We're able to discuss, we're able to agree, disagree, and keep focused on what our mission is and how we need to do it. So I think that's wonderful that all of us from all over Central Vermont can come together and do what we need to do. So thank you all for doing what you do and making my job that much easier.
I just want to add, I'm excited about Create and I'm excited about Spark. I think
Yes.
that's been great and I look forward to how this plays out. It's really exciting. I'm happy to be a part of it with all of you.
Yes, very wise choices. All right, anything else from anyone else? Then I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Jason, thank you. Need a second? Second by Jana. It's non-discussable. We are adjourned.